In a valley nestled between ashen mountains lived a woodcutter named Aaron, a man with strong arms and an honest heart. Aaron knew every tree in the forest as if it were etched into his palm. But one year, winter came early, fiercer and colder than anyone had ever seen. Heavy snow buried the woods, and the river that wound through the valley, the same river Aaron used to carry his timber, froze over in a thick, unyielding sheet of ice. Weeks passed, and Aaron's stockpile of firewood, along with his meager savings, dwindled to almost nothing. Despair began to settle in his chest like the very frost choking the river. He watched as hunger and cold crept closer to his family. Exhausted from trying everything, splitting, hacking, wedging, hammering, yet unable to break the frozen barrier, Aaron turned to what the elders of his village had always taught in times of great affliction: call upon the greater power that dwelled in the land. At dusk, with the wind cutting into his face like knives, Aaron knelt on the riverbank and prayed to the spirit of the river, an ancient entity said in legend to govern the waters and the life they sustained. "O great spirit of the river," he cried, his voice breaking with anguish, "I beg you, hear your humble servant. This ice that covers you has become the shroud of my hope. Without your flow, my family will perish. With all the faith I have left, I plead with you, shatter these chains of ice and set your waters free, so I may work again and provide." A deep silence followed, only broken by the mournful howl of the wind. When Aaron opened his eyes, a figure stood before him, ethereal, translucent, woven of mist and moonlight, glimmering on the frozen surface. The spirit of the river had come. "I have heard your prayer, Woodcutter," the entity spoke, its voice like the distant murmur of flowing waters. "I feel the weight of your affliction, the honesty of your heart. But tell me, what have you done with the strength you were given to move the obstacle before you?" "I have done all I could, Great Spirit," Aaron replied, showing his scarred, blistered hands. "I struck at the ice until my blade grew dull. I used levers and wedges until my shoulders ached. The strength of a man has run dry against the strength of nature." The spirit gazed at him with eyes of restless water. "The strength of a man lies not only in his arms, but in his resolve and his mind. Heaven does not lift the tool for the one who has abandoned it. Go now, gather the last of your strength. Take your sharpest axe and strike one final blow, not with the hope of breaking the river, but with the conviction that you gave everything until the very end." Though weary and confused, Aaron felt a flicker of something stir within him, a spark of determination. The Spirit's words had not offered him a miracle, but a direction. He returned to his cabin, sharpened his best axe under the faint glow of a lantern, and at first light returned to the frozen river. Drawing a deep breath, he raised the axe above his head, pouring into it every ounce of strength, every fragment of hope, every last ember of will. The steel flashed, descended, and struck the ice with a hard, resounding crack. At the exact spot where the blade struck, a thin fracture spread outward, and then, like the awakening of some slumbering giant, the crack widened and rippled across the surface. With a thunderous crack that echoed through the valley, the great sheet of ice split apart. Slowly, majestically, the river stirred and began to flow again, carrying chunks of ice downstream in its current. Aaron fell to his knees, not in despair this time, but but in exhaustion and gratitude. He never knew whether it had been his blow that caused the river to break, or if the spirit had merely waited for his final act of perseverance. But as he gazed at the waters running free, he understood the wisdom hidden in the lesson. Moral: heaven helps those who help themselves. Prayer has power, but action is indispensable. For divine aid often reveals itself as the strength we discover within our own effort.